Next topic that we are going to discuss is gig economy. Now, I hope you all know what is gig economy. What is gig economy? What is gig economy? Temporary recruitment.
Platform workers.
Platform workers. Okay. See, it is a new kind of work where work becomes temporary and it is based on using technology, right? Because these technology and platforms are actually creating gig work, right? Without the help of technology and platforms, gig economy won't be possible. So, with the help of technology, work becoming more flexible and fragmented, that we can refer to as gig economy. All right. Now, let's discuss gig economy from a sociological point of view. So instead of going into the slides that we have prepared, I want you to think about gig economy, how it will contribute or what are the issues associated with it, how will you connect sociological perspectives, sociological analysis into this topic. Let's start. Let's take it as an exercise. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay, it is creating inequality. Okay. So gig economy is boosting inequality in the society, that can be mentioned. Then. Ah. Okay. Okay. Neo-colonialism, because these platforms are mostly controlled by the developed world, right? And platform workers are mostly from the developing countries. So it's a new form of colonialism, right? Okay, you can mention neo-colonialism. Then. Embourgeoisement. How are you connecting embourgeoisement to it? Okay. 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 So a positive side of gig economy is social mobility. Okay. Because why we refer it to as social mobility, or why are we mentioning that particular dimension? How it can create social mobility? Because due to technology, people who are not able to get jobs are now able to get some means of livelihood, especially women and other disadvantaged sections. So if they have like a motorcycle, right, they can join these platforms and they can earn money based on how much time they actually put into that work. Because here the wages are not fixed, as hard as they work, they will get more money, right? So in that sense, you can say it also creates some level of social mobility. Then, yeah, informalization. That's a negative point related to gig economy, right? It leads to informalization because when it comes to Swiggy or Zomato, they are formal organizations. But within that formal organizations, due to platform work, due to gig economy, they are creating informal workforce, right? Then, alienation, yeah, correct. Migration, alienation, then safety and security concerns, gender related issues, right? Women's participation in these platforms are comparatively low. Then, apart from that, you can also mention about the safety and security concerns. Then, new forms of untouchability, you can mention rating system when it comes to these platforms, right? These delivery partners have to, deliver the product within a given time period. If they are not able to do it, their ratings will go down. And it also gives immense power in the hands of both platforms as well as the customers. Plus, there are instances where platform workers are treated, you know, badly in most of the gated societies where they are not allowed to use the elevators, or you know they are not allowed to enter the building premises. They'll have to wait outside. So such kind of instances are also there. And there were also news where these delivery partners are not allowed to use washrooms in restaurants. So that is new forms of untouchability. Okay, especially because most of the platform workers are from the marginalized sections of society. So you can mention about that. Then, All right. I think you guys have mentioned enough number of points. So we'll discuss what are the reasons for emergence of gig economy. So major reasons are, one is the changing nature of work. See, you need to understand that now work is becoming more fragmented in nature, right? Fragmented in the sense that there are works are becoming more in silos. It is compartmentalized. So there is no need of a group of people to come together and do that work in a coordinated way. Instead, as the works are getting fragmented, as the works are getting compartmentalized, it is possible to give these tasks to wide variety of people who does not have to be physically present in that location. Right. So that is one reason why gig economy is actually booming. So fragmented nature of work as well as compartmentalization of work has led to development of gig economy. Is it clear? See, for example, when it comes to, see, gig doesn't always mean platform workers, right? Gig economy also comprises of highly skilled professionals. So suppose I am a highly skilled designer. Now a particular company wants to design their website. So this is a compartmentalized work. This is a fragmented work, right? This is not part of the core operations of that particular organization. So what they'll do is, they will go to a platform where they can find number of designers. They can select one in that particular list and they can give them that particular work. They can outsource it. It saves cost as well as time for the organization because they do not have to go for hiring a designer, right? And that hiring process itself will be very tedious and time consuming, and they will not have to maintain a full-time employee within the organization, which also comes with another set of complications. So selecting a gig worker from the available list, it's kind of a temporary relation. They have to do that work, they have to finish it, and that work will also be done based on a pre-agreed, payment terms. So it's very easy for the companies. And why is it happening? Because the work is fragmented. That designing website is not a core activity. It is fragmented, it is separate. So as a result, it's possible to have that kind of work or to give that work to a gig.
So, if the question is precisely asking about the sociological perspective, should we need to divide the answer into two parts, like this positive perspective and negative perspective? Because it is positively impacts, but how about the perspective?
See, basically UPSC these days are not asking you to write about a sociological perspective as such. Instead, UPSC will be framing the question in a way like, examine the impact of gig economy in so and so condition. Like, say for example, examine the impact of gig economy in nature of work in modern society. So there you have to mention the positive impacts of gig economy and the negative impacts of gig economy. And when you are writing the positive and negative part, you have to mix it with the sociological analysis as well as sociological perspective. That's how you have to write the answer. Clear. See, here we are dividing this content into sociological analysis, sociological perspective, etc. for the sake of dividing that content so as to give you an idea regarding how to think. So in one way you can think from a generic perspective by connecting it with the sociological topics that we learned in our paper 1 and paper 2, as well as you can connect it with various sociological perspectives and theories. So in order to create that distinction, that is the reason why we are giving it into under two different headings. But when you are actually writing the answers, most of the time the question will be either impact of gig economy or role of gig economy, and sometimes it can be much more specific where UPSC will ask you to write the role of gig economy in increasing alienation or role of gig economy in social mobility, right? So there you have to write the positive role of gig economy in social mobility as well as negative role of gig economy. Are you getting the point? All right. So in such situations you have to rely on social groups. Because when you are mentioning about social mobility, you have to stick on to social groups. How gig economy is bringing mobility among women? How gig economy can bring social mobility among the lower class, among the lower caste, right? How about among the elderly? Is there any possibility for gig economy to boost income of elderly population? Because again, gig, it does not require any physical transportation. They can work from their home, right? So likewise, you have to consider it from different social groups' point of view. Is it clear? All right. So reasons, one is changing nature of work, work is getting fragmented. Second is technological advancement. Now you have to mention that there is increase in internet users in the country as well as around the world. That is also one of the reasons why gig economy is boosting. So here you can give an example that in the last 5 years internet users number doubled from 15% to that of 40%, more than doubled, right? So that is also a boost for gig economy, because initially I told you that if gig economy needs to be effective, there should be technology, right? That's important. Then changing work preferences. When it comes to changing work preferences, you have to also mention the population dynamics. Now there is increasing number of millennials, right? And they prefer to have flexibility, they prefer to have autonomy, right? They don't want to get, limited to a particular company or a role. Instead, they want more autonomy, freedom to explore their career. And that is also one reason why there is increase in gig economy. I am talking about especially in the, professional gigs, there is an increase because of this requirement for flexibility and autonomy. See, there are new generation, software engineers who are not associated with a particular company. Instead, they are doing gig with various software companies. Suppose a software company requires a specified, a person with a specific skill. They can find these kind of, highly skilled professionals. They can get in terms with them, and they will work for a temporary period for that company.
Shall we mention the post-quantum where flexible specialization and customization of work?
See, flexible specialization and customization is different from this, right? Because when we talk about gig, it is not just because of, see, the flexibility and flexible specialization after post-Fordism is mainly associated with creating, diverse products, right? So in Fordism, what happened was the specialization was rigid, because I am interested with a task which I'll have to do it day in and day out, like for years. Maybe it will be like tightening a screw, right? It's not a flexible specialization, it's a rigid specialization where I'll be interested with a particular kind of work which I'll do day in and day out, and I'll become a master in that. But flexible specialization means you have a certain specific set of skills that can be utilized to produce different or wide variety of products. Say for example, I am a designer. Okay, I have specialization there, but my specialization is flexible because I can design a cover page, I can design, a magazine, I can design so and so things. So I have specialization, but my specialization is not rigid. It is applicable to various, different number of items. So that is the relevance of flexible specialization. So that cannot be connected here. Gig is related to flexibility in the sense it is from the worker's end, not from the organization's end. Workers need flexibility because I don't want myself to be attached to a company, and I don't want to work with a company for a longer period of time. Instead, I want to select to whom I should work for. Right? The control should be with me. So that is the importance of flexibility in gig. All right. Then you have to also mention about overall flexibility. Changing work preferences, it's not just about flexibility, it is also about autonomy and how people view work, right? There are people, especially from new generation, who view work not as a rigid aspect, but as something that they have to do it for enjoyment, for leisure, like kind of stuff, right? For them, gig economy is a better choice. But rather than that, there is overall flexibility that is actually awarded by, or that is promised by the gig economy for even the gigs at the lower rungs. Suppose you are a platform worker, you have flexibility. If suppose you have a function at your home and you want to go home, you need not have to work that day, because if you don't open that particular app, you will not get request for delivery. Right? So that control is with you. Is it clear? So that kind of flexibility is also one of the reasons why gig is becoming more popular. Workers are not bound by that long-term, rigid relationship. Their salaries are not limited. There is no limit, like in the sense, even though it is limited overall, but they can actually change it based on how much time they actually put in the work. Right? So that kind of flexibility. Then issues with gig economy. What are the various issues? Now, as you have mentioned, one is you can mention about the gender issues with regards to gig economy. See, as I've already mentioned, whatever topic that you get, think it from different social groups point. Gender is one of the most important among that. In case of gender, according to the GSMA Mobile Gender Gap Report 2019, only 16% of women in India are mobile internet users. So as the number of women internet users are less, the opportunity for women to get mobility through gig economy is limited. Their wider participation in gig economy is not possible, right? So that can be mentioned. The next is reinforcing biases. See, when it comes to that of gig economy, you need to understand that these platforms work based on certain algorithms. And these algorithms are mostly coded into the system by a mail, right? So these algorithms will have the existing social biases, right, imbibed into it. That can be gender bias, class bias can be there, right? So such biases in the algorithm can further reinforces overall bias in the society and will lead to continuation of such biases. Right. See, when it comes to that of artificial intelligence also, the same issue is mentioned there because artificial intelligence code or algorithm can also be biased and it can lead to reinforcing of existing biases in society. Okay. Then, labor exploitation. How does that happen? Because when it comes to that of the owners, right, platform owners are benefiting most out of gig economy. They don't have to spend on social security, they don't have to give permanent wages, they don't have to maintain a human resource, and they can also give them cheaper wages because when these platform partners increases, platform workers increases, they can reduce the wages that they pay. Because initially Swiggy used to pay a better amount. But when the competition increased, when they started getting good number of delivery partners, they started to reduce the wages that they provide to these platform workers. So here the problem is you need to understand the exploitation happened because the power balance between the delivery partner as well as the platform owner are there is imbalance in that power. Right? More power is with the platform owners because they are controlling everything. As a result, the delivery partners or the platform workers will get exploited. So you can mention about exploitation, lack of social security, etc. Then you can also mention about alienation. Why alienation? Because these workers are not connected, right? You are working in that particular company as a delivery partner and you will get orders in your mobile phone through the application. You go to the restaurant, collect the order, you give it to the customer, right? There is no social relations being built in such kind of work, right? When it comes to that of professionals also, just imagine these professionals are not going to any company, they are sitting in their home and they are working for a company for a temporary period of time as gig. Now that will lead to a situation where they will not develop social relations based on their work, which will lead to social isolation and social alienation. Right? In case of platform workers, it is also, self-alienation. Why self-alienation? Why do we say that there is instance of self-alienation when it comes to platform workers? Yeah, they do not own the work, right? They will get notification in the app, they go to the restaurant, they collect it, and they are considered not as humans but as some kind of machines or tools, right? Because they are expected to deliver that order within 8 minutes, right? Even if it is raining or even if it is very hot and if there is a heat wave condition, it doesn't matter. They will have to deliver that order within a stipulated time period. So they are considered mostly as machines rather than as humans. So that can also lead to a situation where they feel self-alienated. And as I've already mentioned, they also face a lot of ill treatments, right? Whether when they go to the restaurants, whether they go to these gated communities, they are facing a lot of ill treatments which also lead to instances of self-alienation. Is it clear? Right? Ah. Reinforcing biases. See, gender biases when it comes to these platforms, okay, or the work that is assigned in this platform, it is mostly aligned from a male point of view. when it comes to fixing the delivery time, right, or when it comes to fixing the work conditions, mostly it is related to or which is designed for male, right, rather than for designing it for female. So that is why we say the biases get reinforced. Okay. Then, next is various sociological perspective. So first we will discuss the Marxian perspective. Now when it comes to Marxian perspective, first thing that you can mention is the flexibility which is promised in gig economy is actually to spread false consciousness among the workers. Are you getting the point? Right. How is it spreading false consciousness among the workers? Yeah, correct. Because they feel like they are controlling the work they are doing, but actually it's not, working in that way. Instead, the control is still with the platform owners. Platform workers are subordinated. So as a result, from a Marxian perspective, we can say that gig economy is to spread false consciousness. And what is that false consciousness? That the workers are getting autonomy, that they are getting flexibility. Now, this false consciousness is leading to further exploitation because by promising this flexibility, platform owners are able to exploit the workers more. Right? They don't have to pay them fixed wages. If they work, they have to be given that particular charge. And that is also the wages are low. They don't have to pay for their social security benefits. Right? So by giving that or by spreading that false consciousness, they are gaining from it. Is it clear? Now next is according to the there are 2 points that you can mention under the Marxian perspective. The second aspect is according to or when you consider it from a Marxian perspective, this will also weaken the class solidarity. Because according to Marxian notion of class conflict, when workers come together and when they realize that they are facing the similar level of exploitation, then the class solidarity will form and they will fight against the capitalist system. But in gig economy, there is no scope for this class solidarity because workers are isolated. They are working in a fragmented way. So there is limited chances of class solidarity among the workers. Clear? So that can also be mentioned under the Marxian perspective. The next is the functionalist perspective. From a functionalist perspective, you can mention it that, see, basically, as earlier mentioned, according to Parsons, the social system is there, right? And changes in one part of the social system will lead to changes in other parts of the social system. So here you can consider gig economy as arising from changes in technology, right? Changes in globalization. So the economic changes in society like globalization, rise in technology, etc. has led to changes in the organization of work. So from a functionalist point of view, this is actually needed or gig economy is becoming more popular because of the changes in one part of system will lead to changes in other parts. So globalization, rise in technology has led to development of gig economy. Clear? And finally, when it comes to the concept of Pierre Bourdieu, he mentions about 3 types of capital, right? What are these 3 types? Social, economic, as well as cultural. Now, according to Pierre Bourdieu's concept, when you apply that in gig economy, you need to understand that those with social, cultural and economic capital will gain from gig economy. And at the same time, those without these capital tend to lose from this gig economy. So highly skilled professionals in gig economy, they get better contracts because they have social capital, they have that cultural capital. So they will manage to get better contracts and they will also gain from that particular equation. So rather than working for a company, those belonging to the upper strata, if they follow or if they become part of the gig economy, they gain to benefit. But on the other hand, those without social, cultural or economic capital, those belonging to the marginalized sections, if they join the gig economy, they are actually losing or they are not getting the best benefit out of gig economy. Clear? All right. The next, according to Guy Standing, gig economy. These are the ideas of contemporary thinkers. Okay, as I mentioned, we need to also try to incorporate these kind of concepts and terms. So, according to Guy Standing, it is creating a new form of workforce known as precariates. Because there is proletariates and this is precariates. Why precariates? There is no social security, right? There is no formal agreement or anything, as well as there is no income security. So no social security, no income security, and it's a new type of informal economy. So they are referred to as precariates. Clear? So it is different from Marxian term of proletariats. See, basically you have to understand that they are much below the working class, because working class and the precariats are two different classes now. Working class means those who are part of formal organizations where they get social security, there is permanency or there is security of job. So such kind of workers we can refer to as working class, and precariats are those who are working in the informal sector without any social security, without job security and income security. Clear? Then Ursula Hughes mentioned about that of the power imbalance. See, earlier I mentioned that there is a power imbalance between platform owners and platform workers. So such power imbalances in gig economy creates an asymmetrical relationship of exploitation between the owners and workers. Okay. So power imbalances in gig economy leads to creating asymmetrical relation between the platform owners and platform workers. Then, next is, according to Juliet Score, it undermines social safety nets provided by the welfare state. See, you have to understand that after World War II, when we learn in sociology about family and different types of family, we have learned that after World War II, due to the emergence of welfare state, workers' conditions have improved. They started getting better wages, right? There was limits in the working hours. There were various laws related to industrial safety, etc. So workers were protected, their wages were comparatively higher, and overall the standard of living workers have increased. Now, with the emergence of this platform work or gig economy, the kind of security that the people have enjoyed are losing. Right? They are losing it, and they are being subjected to new forms of exploitation, and they are also losing the safety nets provided by the government. Say for example, government mandates that all those people who work in the organized sector will have to be given provident fund as well as insurance. Now, with the arrival of this gig economy, these kind of safety nets are not enjoyed by the workers there. So, whatever benefits workers got out of emergence of welfare state are now being, is not or it is absent when it comes to precariates or working in platforms. All right, clear?